And okay, so you know, when it comes down to the eye of the tiger, you know what I'm saying? Who's home? You know what I'm saying? You could tell if somebody's home, you know, through their eyes. You know what I'm saying? That's why people say, you know, when you talk to people, you want to look at them in the eyes. When people are not home, you know, the vessel is very is. You know how I know the vessel? I'm gonna tell you right now. My son has had night terrors. He's not home when he's having night terrors. The body is literally experiencing, and but it's not experiencing with anything in it. It's just the vessel, and the vessel is very scared. You know what I'm saying? It's in fight or flight. You know what I'm saying? And based on everything that's happened or the programming up until that moment, that now moment where he's having the night terror is all playing now. Because my son has had night terrors, and let's say any experiences that me and him may have had, he'll bring it up through the night terrors, but yet he's crying and he's scared about it. You get what I'm saying? It may have been, let's say we were in the trails, and you know, the night came and we were trying to get out quick because there's black bears there. So I'm like, Damien, yo, we got to get out of here, man, because there's black bears here. You know what I'm saying? And but he was taking it as a game. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, you know, he was like, oh, we got to go. And we made it out. You know what I'm saying? When we were on the trails and the nighttime came. But believe it or not, man, a couple days later, let's say he went to sleep and he had one of those night terrors. He started talking about that. The bear is coming. You get what I'm saying? But yet at that moment, he wasn't scared. So to me, it's kind of like, it's like the body in and of itself is very scared, very in fight or flight, in protective mode. You get what I'm saying? And the God mentality, okay, the consciousness is what you need to merge and really integrate together. And this is what I feel like we got to teach our children this. You get what I'm saying? That's just an example I put in there. And the reason why is because if you're not fully present and you're not home, okay, you use these energies to your advantage. So when they say the eye of the tiger, you are basically, see, I saw the movie Rocky a couple weeks ago. And what's funny is that at the end of part 2, you know what I'm saying? You see Rocky, he's praying, and he's praying, you know, in the locker room, and he prays in the ring again. But Apollo Creed, in the back and in the ring, his coach was giving him affirmations. You're a badass. You're top dog. You're number one. You're the champ. You're the champ. You know what I'm saying? And hyping him up, putting these affirmations. And Apollo's like, I'm the champ. I'm the champ. You get what I'm saying? And do you see? It was showing you in that movie the two polar opposites. How one was praying, but yet look at who wins and who ends up getting the upper hand. So the programming here will come into the fact that, you know, being a Christian or praying, externalizing your power is the way to make it here. You get what I'm saying? But there's a proper way to pray. You get what I'm saying? And it's basically merging the two together. Neither one is bad. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be able to pray correctly to favor you. You get what I'm saying? Because one thing is that you're gonna prime yourself to get into the energy where when they look at you, you have the eye of the tiger. You get what I'm saying? If you're going into the market, you need to be the wolf of Wall Street. You need to be the shark. You get what I'm saying? You ain't going to be the sheep of Wall Street. You get what I'm saying? But a lot of people have that sheep, the eye of the sheep. You get what I'm saying? And one thing is that it could be done through ignorance. That's how that got there. That's how that happens. Because they don't know themselves. If they knew thyself, okay, if they spent enough time with themselves, they would know that they have the power. They are the power. See, everything is you embodying the energy. You get what I'm saying? And you could do this through creative imaging. You could do this through programming. And another thing is that a lot of people depend on too many things outside of them, including the more how do you call this? The most innocent thing, binaural beats. You get what I'm saying? Unless they have binaural beats, they can't do shit. And that's not the way to do it. You get what I'm saying? All you need is you. And that's it. In a space, some people can't sleep next to somebody who's snoring. And that's a problem. Because here's the thing. You should be able to prime yourself to be a coping machine. And you do that through priming yourself. I'm a coping machine. I'm a coping machine. I feel nothing bothers me. I filter all these things out. And you'll be able to get into the zone without anything bothering you. How come some people could watch TV and they're all immersed in the TV where they're talking to them and they're so hypnotized by the TV that they're like, huh? What? Did you say something? But they were so hypnotized by the TV, they didn't even notice their surroundings. You need to do that when you're going into your space. Be so immersed in your space that you zone out and filter everything out of you. You get what I'm trying to say? It's the same shit. But it's so easy to do it with entertainment of technology because you were so used to being entertained. You get what I'm saying? That and you're so used to being entertained that you can't go into your space without needing some type of entertainment, because the binaural beats would be some type of entertainment. But realize this, the binaural beats, all right, you don't know what you're listening to. Binaural beats are programming, and they actually do change the chemistry. They change you chemically, and they change the natural chemistry of your body. See, the natural beats you're supposed to be listening to is just sitting outside and listening to frogs, listening to the trees brushing up against each other, the wind, the insects. You should be able to be listening to that. And if you're in a dark space and you're by yourself with no interruptions, notice how in silence you can still hear the sound of silence. You still hear that. It's the sound of silence. But if there's somebody snoring, something is playing in the background, whatever it may be, you should be able to zone that out too. You should be able to do anything. But if you can't do that, then these things are more powerful than you. You should be able to zone anything out because you are a coping source machine. And nothing can fuck with you without your consent. These things can be put into practice because, see, everything, the emotions are blinding. And everything creates an emotion where you react to everything. So let's say, for example, somebody pisses you off. It's up to you to react to it or just let it be. But the ego, you know what I'm saying? It's like it has to do something about it. You get what I'm saying? And I've been there many times. The ego has to do something about it because you feel like you got one over on yourself. They got one over on you. You get what I'm saying? But the whole thing is that the emotions are blinding because, see, it's not even just rage. Like rage, you know how sometimes people go into a rage and people say, oh man, I'm sorry. I mean, I got blinded. I got into this fight, but I just got blinded and started swinging. And you got blinded by a strong emotion, but you could get blinded by a simple, small emotion that you become reactive to rather than being proactive to things. Just sit back and be in your now moment where you can actually pulverize what's going on with your imagination. Look at the situation and see how Thanos did this? I do the snap of the tongue. When you do that, you should be able to see everything just pulverize the same way Thanos does it when he snaps his finger. And when you start to do that, you're in control. Do you know how much power you have and you're actually able to cultivate and harness and wield in just from doing that? Because it was like an obstacle that got presented in front of you to challenge you. And you were so foundationally strong, it didn't rattle you, it didn't shake you. Now, unless it's physically threatening you, then you need to kick some ass. That's different. Okay? But it is something simple. Okay? That is just egos because here's the thing, you have to also understand that whatever you're experiencing, if there is an angry individual, okay, you reflect that angry individual is basically you, a part of you that needs some type of healing. So it's not about being nice and being nothing like that. See, there's a fine balance between all the bullshit that people tell you, love and light. No, it's not, nothing like that. Okay? But there's a level of understanding where if you can do something about it without giving your energy away, or without you having to put so much emotion out, then you would take that route, would be more intelligent. But when the ego starts to flare up and now you're like, what? You said something to me? That's different. See, I was like that all my life, dude. I'm telling you right now, I was like that my entire life. But there's healing inside of you that has to happen, and these are presented to you by people, because the universe is always talking to you, and everything you're experiencing outside of you is the universe. See, people look at the universe as a heaven in the sky, and you're going to get a divine signal, when in actuality, it may just be an asshole that may be presented in front of you, and it is up to you to heal the situation right then and there in your present moment. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you're in the right frequency and in the right space, okay, you will never, and I repeat, you will never have that experience. Because I'll tell you what, this I'm speaking through experience. You will never have to worry about somebody coming into your space to try to fight you or to try to do something to harm you, and it would have to have you fight back or defend yourself, because you're not in that space originally. If you're in the right state of being, right state of mind, and your frequency and vibration is at a healthy level, you won't even experience that. You'll experience an asshole, but if you do, that's just a healing that you need within you, and it can actually happen by you diffusing that situation outside of yourself. Not by being a pussy, and not by being nice, because nice is still being a pussy. Okay? It's literally about, this is the beauty of us using our mind. You get what I'm saying? Because I will tell you this, if you are not in control of your mind, in your now moment, it will be controlled for you. And that's why I shouted out the Rogue Titan. Also, Ravana Noon, the Black Serpent Clan, put out a really good video. Okay? I'm going to link his video in the description below also. Those two videos, man, when I listened to them, they got down to the point. You get what I'm saying? Straight to the point. It's really eye-opening. You get what I'm saying? And certain things, when you listen to, they resonate with you. It's good to share it, man. And that's what I want to do. I want to share those videos because they definitely resonated with me. And if this information that I'm speaking on resonates with you, then most likely those videos will resonate with you too. You get what I'm saying? But live your experience, okay, on your terms. If you're living your experience based on your external experience, it's just going to keep going in that direction. And if you're not in the right state of being and you're feeding into that, that's what you're energizing. More of that. See, Ravana Nu mentioned something that if you want something to stop, you don't go out and protest. You make it stop within you. You get what I'm saying? If I want something done, let's say in a project I'm doing in my garden, I make it stop within me. I don't need to put chemicals in my garden, which I still have never used chemicals in my garden. And I'm going to put out a video where I did a walkthrough of my garden. Again, it was 2 videos, 20 minutes long. Very, very good videos. I definitely recommend you watch them. They're very, very good. You know what I'm saying? But basically, you know, your external world, if you see it's not in a favorable way, okay, and you go outside and protest in Spanish, protestar, it's kind of like a complaint. When you go to a job, because this is a business, and when you're in a job, what do? You complain. You complain about somebody. You complain about something. You police people's actions. Dumb shit that people do. You get what I'm saying? But, you know, you're the CEO. You're the manager, man. You're not just a simple employee that has to complain out here. You know what I'm saying? You got to take the wheel and not follow that sheep herd mentality. You know what I'm saying? Where you got to go and complain. Do you notice how when you hear protesters in the street, no, No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Let me tell you something. I walked by one of those stupid protesters and they kept saying no justice, no peace. Look at the words they're using. No justice, no peace. Right? So what is justice to you? You know what I'm saying? So you want justice. But if you want justice, what if you don't get it? You get no peace. You're the one consenting to that because you're repeatedly saying it. And when you hear that, you notice how those things kind of hook? They start playing in your head like hooks. It was actually playing in my head. No, it's kind of like a rhythm. And it's crazy how it just sticks to your head. And when you find yourself playing those things in your head, those are mantras. You got to put something else that would change that completely so that, you know, it would... And with your awareness, of course, you catch it and you say, no, I don't consent to that. But if you don't catch it and you just let it play there, and then eventually it just goes into the background, you may hear another song that may come in and then start playing, and then you forget about that one. It was already played in your head as a mantra. You get what I'm saying? So the point is that as it's playing in your head as a mantra, you'd be like, oh shit, wait a second, that's playing as a mantra. I don't like the way those words are not in my favor. So yeah, I don't consent to that. And then you change it. Don't let it be changed. You get what I'm saying? Now, it's just like gematria, man. One thing about gematria I want to mention is that there's certain things that just happen. Let's say a song may pop out, you know what I'm saying, out of the blue, and it catches your attention, and there's a hook on it, and then you gematria it. You'd be surprised how just playing a little bit of detective work with gematria starts to link into things into that link into your timeline. You get what I'm saying? But you're playing with gematria because there's a lot of things that have the same value of the words that you put in. But don't forget, not everything may pertain to you. But what pertains to you, you may want to use your intuition and discernment, kind of like when you're playing tarot, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of look at a word that kind of sticks out to you because it's something that has played along or resonated with you in your timeline. Click on it and you do that and you keep going down until you basically start to see how certain things link in, and they'll even tie into current things that are happening on the big stage. You get what I'm saying? And what's happening on the big stage, for example, let's say, I'm going to give you an example. You was to put Donald Trump, he started talking about Elvis Presley. Go do that, because I did that. And you'd be surprised just putting in Donald Trump, and then you'd be surprised how it just ties in Elvis Presley, and then he said Elvis Presley, so you remember that because you're like, yo, shit, he had a video where he said he's like Elvis Presley, and maybe it's that he was Elvis Presley, and he's playing now the character of Donald Trump. You get what I'm saying? But just the fact that you heard that and that stuck out to you, or somebody may have posted that for you, and that's something that kind of, it's kind of like when you have a dream. You don't remember your whole dream, but you remember certain points of your dream, the most impactful points or the points that you were supposed to remember about your dream. It's the same way here because this is a dream too. So when you're in this dream, you highlight the things that have been highlighted to you. So Elvis Presley, and then I saw Donald Trump, then I happen to tie in Elvis Presley, then you start breaking that down, and you'd be surprised how that even ties into things that are going on in your timeline, in your stage. Because they're on the big stage, you're on the little stage. You could be on the big stage. You get what I'm saying? But you got to realize, the same way I used the example with Batman and Superman, okay? See, Batman is able to participate on that big stage because he's rich. You get what I'm saying? Superman has the powers. You know what I'm saying? But they're both, at the end of the day, superheroes. Okay? And then you have the villains. Who is to say the villains are really the bad guys? Who is to say the bad guys are really the good guys? Or the good guys are really the bad guys? Or the good guys or whatnot? Or the good guys are really good? It's just one whole universe. You get what I'm saying? The DC universe, the Marvel universe. But they're all part of the same universe. And without the villains, what the fuck good are the superheroes? And without the superheroes, there's no order. You create your universe, but it's going to take focus. Do experiments with yourself. How long can you hold a thought, or hold on to a focus rather? How long can you hold on to it without something else just coming in and infiltrating you? You'd be surprised a minute, 2 minutes, and you start drifting into something else that was already out of what you originally were focusing on. This is strengthening your focus muscle, and then you focus your intent muscle, because there's an intent muscle. You kind of like working out. So when you start working on your intent, do you get what I'm saying? The more you use it, the more stronger it gets. So when you start to do things with intent, but in your now moment where you're home, you're presently home, and you're not in the future, in your now, you're seeing the future in your now. It's got to be very, very present with what it is you want, but already in your now. Don't look into the future, because then you're out of your home. You're not, see, then it's kind of like if I'm doing a face-off with you, you don't have the eye of the tiger. You get what I'm saying? What energy do you want to use? You got to make sure you're home so that you let the energy of what it is you're trying to inhabit into your space. You get what I'm saying? See, a lot of people are saying, God this, I'm God, but it's really coming from an ego space. Are you home? Because you could look into somebody's eyes and know if they really mean that. And if you really mean that, with great power comes great responsibility. You get what I'm saying? So it's going to take discipline, focus, and a level of responsibility. How uncomfortable can you put yourself? Could you do that every day? And it starts with getting simple, like getting in a cold shower. I'm talking about freezing, whether it's winter or summer. Get in that cold shower every day and force yourself to breathe in ways that you've never breathed before, because the cold shower forces you to breathe that way. The heat may force you to breathe a certain way. You get what I'm saying? If something is stressing you out, be present and see where you feel the contraction. Sometimes even when you're meditating, you may feel a contraction in your solar plexus. Focus on that and stay focused on that. And you see how things start to surface up. And when things surface up, you'll know why that's happening. And you're able to, because you can't fix something unless you know what's going on. And then you start to know yourself more by letting things surface up. It's not chasing things. It's like people try to remember things. Why do you think you say, oh, it came back to me? You know what I'm saying? When they forget something. You know what I'm saying? It comes back to you. So it's the same thing. There's things hidden in the abyss. And when you just chill out and become attractive, it's going to surface. And boom, you catch it. And you do something about it now. That's been helping me a lot. You hear what I'm saying? So you have to leave the door open, but you have to be home. You can't leave the door open to your home, because anything could just walk in and out and rob you, right? But if you're home, you allow what's your level of hospitality toward your guests? Because all energy is guests into your home. See, the food you eat, when you're real present with it, it's information, which is why if I'm eating something from my garden, the benefit is that it's full of life force because I just pulled it out. But if I'm very present with it, okay, I can alchemically transform myself by just being very present with it and have an intent behind things, ritualize things. Darth Vader. Hey, Pharaoh? That's right, buddy. All right, so, I mean, that's all I got on this video, and we'll talk soon.